Hi, and welcome to a very special of Our Road to Camelot. My name is Steve, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up review on the Garmin 890 RV GPS system. Is it worth it? It's not a cheap unit, but we're going to find out everything else about it right after this. Beginning of our summer travels, I had picked up the Garmin 890 RV GPS unit, but I did show you some tricks and tips on setting it up. If you have not seen that episode, I do advise you go back and watch that because we did some things that were really, really useful, such as turning on only seeing truck stops when we're driving down the road in travel mode, because we definitely don't want to be looking for small gas stations when we're towing the 35-foot fifth wheel behind us. So some of those tricks I still stand by. Go with that. Watch that episode. But what we're going to be covering in this one is some of the new tricks that I have found, and also to give you some thoughts as far as where I stand with it now. We had a little bit of trouble when we first started. Total disclosure, when we first got this unit, before I did any software or hardware or firmware upgrades, the first week it was trying to get us to detour off of major highways that weren't closed, saying it was closed. Yeah, so that was not a good thing. It was trying to take us down these back roads. It would have lengthened our drive by hours and hundreds of miles. And I thought, no, I want to trust the fact that that road is not closed. It's a major trucker route. And sure enough, it wasn't closed, and I don't know why it was doing that. We did firmware and software upgrades, and right after we did that, the whole system smoothed out. We never had an issue whatsoever for the rest of our trip. So we're going to talk about that when we get started, to do that first. But let's get into some of the other fun stuff that you can do with this Garmin 890 that we discovered as we were traveling. Is there anything else I want to talk about right now? Nope, that's it. Let's get into the Garmin. Okay, so the first thing we talked about was updating the Garmin, and you should check this often. So if I go to settings, and then under settings, I just go ahead and tap on update, and it's checking the system for updates. And I know there is an update right now, so I went ahead and left that undone so I can do it now. So I can click on either update, the map's available, the software's available. I can go ahead and download it right now. So system update, device must be connected to a power source. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it into a power source right now and let the download begin. So I was connected to the internet. That's no issue. Just make sure you do have a strong internet connection when you do this. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward and jump into when this is finally done. All right, so I guess the one thing I probably should have mentioned is if you're going to do an update, don't plan on doing any other work for a while. It took quite a few hours to get all that done. So what I do want to do, however, is talk about some of the things that we kind of discovered. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is kind of take a look across the top bar, Campgrounds. When I go to Campgrounds, I can actually go to a specific area and look up campgrounds in that area. So if I go ahead and zoom out of this, and let's say we are planning on heading over to Iowa. So if I zoom in here on Des Moines, search here, it's going to give me, a ton of campgrounds in the Des Moines area. If I zoom in even more on Des Moines, it'll narrow down at least to those, and I can now take a look at specific ones. So now it narrowed it down to just the Des Moines area. So Iowa State Fairgrounds is number 1, and number 2, they're kind of right on top of each other there. Yellowbank, CP over the side here, and it gives me a lot of different ones. When we get into the ones that actually have TripAdvisor ratings, so we can actually take a look at what TripAdvisor says. Here's, oh man, this looks good. Griff Valley View RV Park, number 9, and it pops up right there northeast. It's a 5-star rating. bottom line is it will let you search local areas for campgrounds. That's good if you need to look up a new campground, and that actually did happen to us with the campgrounds, where there was a campground that was not what it appeared to be, and we pulled up neighboring campgrounds on the Garmin, and it took us to one that was actually really nice, very high rating. If we look at our trip history, it will actually let me look to everything that we have done. So if I have something that I want to go back to, I can go ahead and plug it in here. What I really want to get to, however, and we've used this the most, is the Where To button. And in the Where To button, there's a lot of things that we need while we are out about traveling. Now, what you want to make sure you do before you go to that you do set your vehicle back to car mode. So when we get to an RV site, we'll switch from our fifth wheel mode back to our car mode. And by doing that, when we go to Where To, we can actually now have everything relate to the car, including if I go to recent, and let's say Oasis RV Park, that shows up as a recent. We got there using the RV mode, but if we're driving around and we don't know the area that well to get back to our campground, we can go to recent in car mode, hit that, and it will now take us back to that location in car mode. So that is a nice feature with the recent. Other things that we use quite a bit, and that is when you're traveling full time, you need grocery stores. So this is going to give me local grocery stores and how far away they are. So from where I am right now, less than a mile away is a North Side Market. I can look that up to see how big of a market that is. It sounds like a little neighborhood market. We have a Cindy's mini market less than a mile away. But now we start getting into the bigger markets that I recognize names, such as Food City. We come down a little bit further down. We have a Safeway about less than 2 miles away. Sprouts Farmers Market less than 2 miles. Another Safeway 2.1. So we can look up all of these markets and try to pick which one we think is going to suit our needs the best. One of my other favorite features in this Where To is to look up categories. So if I go to categories, this allows me to look for gas stations. Once again, back to campgrounds again. But better still, restaurants. Let's take a look at what restaurants. Now, it gives me a quick search of places that I've looked up or searched for before. But I can look at all restaurants or browse by style. If I want to look at all restaurants, hey, we're not picky, we're just hungry. So here I have INJ Fountain Restaurant, less than a half a mile away. Puffy Taco Shack, less than a half a mile away. I'm finding all these places that are like really close by. So we could be, you know what, we want a burger. Burger King's a hair over a half mile. We got ratings of these places. Now, when you look at ratings, it's always good to see how many people rated it. I always go by, if it's like 10 or less, it's probably the people that own the place that gave it a rating. So I'm going to want to look at something that has a lot more. For instance, Portofino West has 126 people left a rating, and it comes out at a 4 out of 5. So that's kind of what we look at. Anyways, that is one of my favorite features, attractions. What attractions are nearby? So we have all attractions major. Well, let's take a look at all for right now and see what that says. So we have a number of things that are close by. So let's narrow this down. Let's go to major attractions. There we go. So we have the Arizona Science Center, 20 miles away. Desert Botanical Gardens, 25. Hoover Dam is 214. So I guess there's not a lot on major attractions that we have close by. But if I decide, you know what, let's check out museums and galleries. And there's one I do plan to go to. I'm sure it's in here. Zoos and aquariums. We're going to have a video coming up on the Wildlife World Zoo. That's only 8 miles away. But we do have a lot of neat places if you're into that sort of thing. And once again, that all falls under the category of categories. So if you go into categories, you can search. So the Musical Instrument Museum, and I'm hoping to get over there and do a video on that place as well coming up soon. But that will allow me to get my directions.
Please drive the highlighted route.
All right, so that's going to be 22 miles away, and it's going to take me about 27 minutes to get there if I was to leave today right now. Let's go back to Where To, and let's go back to categories. We can look up recreational places, shopping, if we need just want to do shopping for clothes, computer electronics, convenience stores, that's all out there. If you need to do banking, I love the everyday life. Once again, auto services, if you need to get a haircut, beauty and personal, car washes, community services. So you can look up just about anything out here. Medical care, all medical hospitals, so pharmacies, if you needed something, you got it right here. What I also like about this is you do have TripAdvisor, and you get ratings from TripAdvisor on here. And if you're into historical sites, you've got History Channel and all the places that History Channel has their markers. You have a lot of places that you can wind up going to. The Deer Valley Petroglyphs, that's not that far away, only 10 miles away. So this is actually quite cool that you've got that marking in there. If you're just kind of in the mood, hey, we want to go somewhere, no idea where, you can go out here to the history side and see what is available. Are there any battlefields around here? Battle of Pine... Yeah, there are. So there you go. Attack at Fort Apache. That could be quite cool. So once again, you've got things that I haven't even pre-planned this, and I'm finding stuff that looks really kind of cool. So who knows? We might be hitting some of those as we go. So those are some of the ways we have used this in finding local attractions, businesses, and amenities, is by using our Garmin and not always just using the phone. This has become a really nice tool to have. It's helped us out in so many ways, kept us in the right areas, and I can't say enough about this device. Now, where do you get them? So you actually can get the Garmin on Amazon. And if you watch for specials, you'll be able to find it probably as low as $3.99. In fact, here I do have one right here on Amazon for $3.99. Normally it's $4.99. Now this is the Garmin 890 with the 8-inch display. There's a bundle I found as well that has a wearable power pack bundle, so you can take it out of the car and carry it with you. Once again, you'll find it on sale for $3.99 quite often. Full price is $4.99. You're going to want to basically keep an eye on those sales, but I do highly recommend, if you're going to be traveling, to go for this. All right, so that is it for this episode. I hope this was helpful for you. Don't forget to hit that subscription button and also hit that notification bell, let you know every time that we post every Sunday at 2. Also, thumbs up for good measure. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram, and www.ourroadtocamelot.com. So until next time, safe travels and see you on the road.